Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 309. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. Welcome back if you're a middler, and welcome if you are new. And if you are on your spiritual development journey and just finding me, hello, welcome. I highly recommend you go back to episode 1 and start at the beginning. Usually people feel very seen and heard going through when I first realized I was a medium. I always say I was just a regular gal. I was working at Lululemon. I was coaching CrossFit. And then one day I took a Reiki course seemingly out of nowhere. And I started to have all of these things happen to me. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was crazy. And throughout the podcast over the last 308 episodes, I have shared everything that I've experienced over the last 8 years, everything I've learned, every lesson. I try to give it to you in a 20-minute podcast episode so you don't have to spend years trying to figure it out like I did. So go back to episode 1, and you can also use the podcast like a search engine, and you can search medium in the middle boundaries, medium in the middle energy, medium in the middle mediumship for whatever you need help with on your spiritual development journey. And it is a journey. It takes time. You are not behind. Don't worry. It took me years to figure out what was happening to me, and these things take time, but that's okay. We have all the time in the world. Today we are going to be talking about channelers. Are you a channeler? I am going to share all the information that I have from my experience working with channelers, and hopefully this can help you figure it out. While I don't love labels because sometimes it feels like we have to be placed in a box based on a label, in spirituality, sometimes a label helps you know what's happening, helps you put your finger on it to be like, oh, that's what's happening. Oh, that's where that information is coming from. So I've talked about different labels before: the mediumship label, receiving information from spirit. Who told me that? Your dad, your grandma, your grandpa who has passed away. There's energy, so, feeling into someone's energy. Your shoulder hurts. You have 3 sisters. You have a bad back. There's the psychic information, knowing about the future, knowing of things coming up. You're going to Hawaii in March. You're getting married in June. That type of information. And then there's the channeler bucket. So I want to just share what I know about this bucket. I am not an expert, but I do have some experience, and I can point you in the right direction to receive more information to help you out. So I did a few videos on Instagram and TikTok, and they were getting a lot of traction of people saying how they feel so seen. This is them. I'm describing everything about them. So again, once you have a label, sometimes it's very helpful to get more information so you know where to look, so you know what to research, so you know what books to buy. And if you're a channeler, you will be doing the research, buying the books, looking up everything. So we're going to talk about that today. So before we jump into this week's episode, I have just a few quick announcements. I have added more mediumship practice circles to the schedule. The circles have been selling out. They're limited seats just so that it can still be fairly intimate and you can talk and share so that it's still a manageable group size. So if you do see a date that works for you, I highly recommend registering. I'm trying to add different times so we can get different availabilities. So there's Saturday mornings. I'm doing a few evening ones. The most up-to-date information will always be on my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. Reiki trainings are booking into October. So if you see a date that works for you, again, I recommend registering. I don't hold a wait list for those. I have officially closed my books for one-on-one, for virtual sessions and in-person sessions. So I am no longer open to new clients for the remainder of 2026. Thank you for all the interest in working with me. I truly wish I could help every single one of you personally, but that is just not possible. So I am trying to fit in more group work so that I can work with more people. But at this time, my books are closed to new clients. If you are an existing client, when my books open again, you will receive information via email. But I am currently fully booked until August. But if you do want to still work with me, there are the Reiki trainings, the monthly mediumship practice circles, and I also offer courses on my website, so you can check that out as well. And of course, the podcast. If you're here, you've already found it. But there's lots of free information jam-packed on this podcast to, again, help you on your development journey. And my last announcement, I am officially saying it on the podcast today to make sure I actually do it and hold myself accountable, because I've been thinking about this for a long time and I'm getting a screaming yes. So this is my official announcement. The podcast will be taking a break. Don't worry, I'm not going away forever. However, in the last 7 years of podcasting, I have only ever taken a break around Christmas and New Year's and a week off here and there. So this will be the first time I am taking the summer off. As you guys know, I am committed to my 2 days off a week, and Wednesdays are some of the days that I have off. So I have Mondays, some Wednesdays, some Fridays. That's kind of all over the place. But in order for me to actually have a day off, I need to not be releasing a podcast episode, because that's 4 or 5 hours every Wednesday. That's not a real day off. So the last podcast episode is going to be on June 24th, episode 313, and I will be taking a break until September, and they will be coming back September 9th. I will have a few episodes in the summer months just because there's a few big milestones. Medium in the Middle is turning 6 years old. The podcast is turning 7 years old. So I will sprinkle in a few episodes, but I won't be doing weekly episodes for the months of July and August. And I will be coming back fresh in September. I try to listen when Spirit gives me guidance, and my guides have been kind of dropping this in front of me and giving me guidance, what I'm going to do with this time off, how I'm restructuring things, what's the plan moving forward. What are my goals for this podcast? Again, it's been 7 years. Oh my goodness. So just so you know, there will be 4 more episodes after today's episode, and then there will be a 2-month break. Coming back on September 9th, I have been releasing weekly episodes for 7 years, minus 3 weeks off that I take over Christmas and New Year's each year. So this is very, very much deserved and long overdue. But in the theme of rest of 2026, this is right up the alley. So there will be episodes for all of June, and then June 24th will be the last episode of the summer. July and August will be off. You will have 313 episodes to enjoy until I'm back on September 9th. Okay, I said it. It's real. It's happening. So there we go. Okay, so let's jump into this week's podcast episode. We are talking about channelers. Are you a channeler? How to know if you're a channeler? Let's talk about channelers. And I want to share all of my experience with channelers and hopefully provide you some information that might help you if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling overwhelmed. Because I feel like once channelers realize they're channelers, it's like, the heavens open, everything makes sense. You know what to research, you know what to look up, you know what books to buy, you know what path to go down, you know what rabbit hole to enter. And again, as much as I hate putting labels on things, because sometimes I can put you in a box, the channeler box is usually a needed one. I want to start off first by talking about a channeler and channeling. So lots of people can channel. So channel is when you're channeling information, it's coming through very fast, it's here and there, it's not consistent, it's sometimes, for example, I would say like when I'm in the Akashic Records, I'm channeling. Sometimes with mediumship, it feels very channeling, like it just almost feels like something takes over your body, it's not you saying things. But if you are a full channeler, that is your thing. Like that is completely 80% of the time you are channeling. I would say I'm a channeler about 20% of the time, so I wouldn't call myself a channeler. I channel, but I'm not a channeler. I am nowhere near the rate of the information that channelers get. In my entire experience of being in the woo-woo space, meeting people, mentoring people, meeting people, I have met less than 10 channelers. So if you are a true 100%, this is your vibe, I don't want to say it's rare, but it is more rare than everything else. I meet lots of mediums. I meet lots of psychics. I meet lots of people who are good with energy, who can read energy. Those things are very, very common. Full channelers, I would say, are much more rare. And I'm going to give you a list of things. I don't want to say you have to be all of these things to be a channeler, but all of these things would happen all of the time. So for me, it happens 20% of the time. I wouldn't call myself a channeler. I can channel sometimes. I would more say that I'm an energy worker, a medium, and a psychic. So again, I do think there's a distinction between channeling, the ability to channel, and being a channeler. So we're talking about channelers today. Okay, so I'm going to give you some traits that I've noticed working with channelers. Again, it's few and far between, but they are all the exact same. And you can like point them out in a crowd. It's like, oh, I know what's happening to you. I've seen this before. So if you are a channeler, information comes fast. Fast, and it is very overwhelming. It'll feel like you are in a room of people, a crowded room, and 25 people are talking to you at the same time. But somehow you can understand the 25 people, you know what they're saying, you can process things. It might seem like gibberish, but you're like, whoa, lots of information. Because of this overwhelming information, channelers are always very sensitive to other people's energies, so they do not like the public. When I say they do not like the public, this is to an extreme. They want to be alone. You want to move away. You want to live in the middle of nowhere. You want to go to a forest. You don't want to see people. You cannot go to the grocery store. Not, oh, I don't like going to the grocery store. It is not possible. You can't go to the mall. You don't go to concerts ever. You would be very overwhelmed, very uncomfortable. You don't like going out in public. You don't go for dinner. You don't go out. You would be very uncomfortable in those situations. A lot of channelers end up moving away. They go away alone a lot, and they would go somewhere very remote. They buy property away from people where they spend time alone. These aren't the people that are like, you're going to visit them. They're spending time with you. No, they like to be alone. They also love nature. They love trees. They love the forest. They love connecting with nature. They like going for walks in nature alone. They will talk to the trees. Some people are rolling your eyes and being like, that's crazy. Channelers are like, my people, yes, we talk to the trees, we connect with birds, we connect with nature, we go inside birds, we go inside trees, we understand the energy of the forest. That's where we feel most connected. This is where we process. This is where we feel seen. This is where they feel most comfortable, alone in nature, in the forest with no one around. You love that. You probably do that every single day if you're a channeler because you need to. Not because you want to, it's like you must go to the trees every single day in order to live a normal human life. Every channeler I've ever met runs away to the trees for hours every day because they simply cannot process being out with other people. Going back to point one, they don't like being around other people. They can barely live with other people in the same house because it's too overwhelming. They receive information fast. They are very connected to their guides. They are very connected to oneness, universal intelligence, kind of the energy of everything. Mediumship is like the energy of your grandpa. Akashic records are the energy of you and your soul. Channeling is the records, the information of everything in the entire universe for all beings, plants, animals, people. It is everything. So they will ask a question and get an answer, but they're often too confused to even ask the question. So they'll be like, oh, I have so much information. I don't know what to do with it. La da 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 da. And I was like, hey, if you ask a question, you get an answer. Instantly. Like instantly they will get a full-blown response. If they don't know why something's happening to them, they will ask full explanation. Channelers are also usually very interested and pulled to the Akashic Records. And again, they don't know why. They'll be like, oh, I like the Akashic Records. Oh, I'm interested in the Akashic Records. Oh, I don't know why I like the Akashic Records. And then when they go into the Akashic Records, it will feel very familiar to them because it's the same state that they're in when they're channeling. That Akashic Record field is similar to the channeling field. So it will feel very comfortable. You're like, yeah, I do this all the time. A lot of people have a difficult time getting into the Akashic Records. They have a difficult time holding that energy. They have a difficult time understanding the energy. It can take people years to get comfortable in the Akashic Records. Again, for me, it took me a very long time to be able to sit in the Akashic Records because I am not a channeler. I can channel, again, but I am not a channeler. So I went into the Akashic Records 15 times before I got any information. And then I hated being in there. I would be in there for 1 minute, then 2 minutes, then 3 minutes. And then for a long time, I got kicked out at 14 minutes. Channelers love it. They will sit there all day, every day and be like, yeah, this is no problem. I don't have a headache. I don't feel overwhelmed. So they have a very strong pull to the Akashic Records. Usually, like, they don't know why. They're like, oh, I'm interested in the Akashic Records. And because channelers are so used to so much information all the time coming at them from every which way, overwhelm, fast, they also seek this information. So they're the type of people that if they are interested in the Akashic Records, they've read 7 books on the Akashic Records. They've listened to every podcast on the Akashic Records. They've researched Akashic Records. They've looked up every course in their state, in their country, in the world on Akashic Records. They've compared the different courses to see which one might be good for them. They've then read 5 more books on the teacher who might be teaching the course. Again, they are information overloads, so they also will do that because that's how they process. So it's funny, I've had a few mentees that are channelers, and when they first talk to me, they have years of experiences, hours of stories. They are confused. They are like, this happens. I experienced this when I was a kid, this, and this. Last week, this. They like can talk for hours about things that have happened just in the last week. It is no shortage of experiences. Again, if you're a channeler, people can channel and they'll have things like this that happen once every few weeks, once a month, a few times a year. Yes, you're channeling, but I feel like channelers experience this all the time at 100%. They're like speeding down the highway. A lot of the channelers that I also know personally have written books. And they're very good at automatic writing, again, because they're channeling. So it's not them. So my one channeler friend, she has written many books, published them, released them. And she's like, yeah, I just sit down for a week and type. I don't got to do anything. I just type what they tell me to type. I release the book, bada bing, bada boom. They're very good at manifesting, but they don't realize it. Because they can create and have whatever they want fast, they, again, are sometimes kind of like lost and confused where they don't know which way is up. So it's almost like they're in a tornado, but if they realize that they could direct their tornado and go wherever they want, they are unstoppable. So they can literally manifest whatever they want in like a scary way. I've had one channeler I was looking for. She needed $50,000 to go to school. And I was like, okay, listen, everything I just said on this podcast, I said, you're a channeler. You're going to be very good at manifesting. I just need you to focus on needing $50,000 and you will be surprised how fast you will get it. And she's like, but I need this for school. I can't do school without it. How am I going to get $50,000? That's insane. That's ridiculous. No. I said, I need you to focus and I promise you, you will get this money. You have no idea your capabilities. Guys, I talk to my mentees every 2 weeks. Within the month, she had the $50,000. And she was blown away. She was like, yeah, it just kind of like happened. Yes, because you're a channeler and stuff like this happens all the time. And then when she went to the school, she saw a building. She's like, I knew I had to be in that building because I've seen that building before and all of these things. And I was like, Like, wait till you have this under wraps and you can control the tornado. You are going to fly. Also, in my experience with channelers, again, this is all just my experience with who I've worked with and who I've met over the last 8 years. They can do mediumship. So because they can connect to everything all the time, people, plants, animals, birds, trees, the universal collective, oneness, the Akashic Records, So they have the ability to do mediumship, but they usually don't like to because mediumship is usually not as fast as channeling, so it makes them doubt themselves. Again, mediumship is fast, not as fast as channeling. There is like 2x speed and then 5x speed. So again, they can do mediumship, but in my experience, they've always come to me to be like, can you help me with this? Why can't I get an answer from my grandma? I'm like, you can, you're just not trusting it because it's coming in a different way than you're used to. So they can do a lot of things, but they usually feel more uncomfortable outside of their lane because channeling is their lane. They are also very good at telepathy. So because they can communicate at a high frequency very fast with many different things, there's actually a group of channelers I'm working with right now. There's 4 of us, and we are all practicing telepathy together. And it is insane, the stuff that we can do. It'll be like, okay, give me a second. I'm going to tell so-and-so to text me. I'm going to tell so-and-so a word, and I'm going to have them send it to me in an email. I'm going to all of these crazy things, but channelers are like, what's happening? So quite literally, if you think about them, they will message you. If you are talking about them, they will message you. They are very, very connected, which leads me to, because I've only met, a handful of channelers, I've tried to connect them to each other. And I'm like, hey, you're a channeler. I have another channeler for you to meet. And you guys are just going to like kick it off here because you're going to be like, me, you are me. And sometimes it's, a match made in heaven, and they are yapping for hours, they're meeting, they're communicating telepathically, they are feeling so understood, they're helping each other grow, they're moving through lessons. Sometimes it's, and this is more often, again in my experience, they connect so fast at the beginning, it's like bam, 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 and then after a week, they're like, this is too much. We can't double this together. It can't be your energy plus my energy. It's now doubled. It's too much. So they often, again, find other channelers to be even too much because by connecting with each other, it's too much. It's your information plus my information. Now everything is doubled. Now it's double speed. Now it's, again, they are like, nope, that was fun. Thanks for the information. I need to go be alone now for 6 months before I can talk to you again. So that also has happened a lot where they're like, yeah, I love that person, but I can't talk to them very often because it's too much. They're already overwhelmed. They already have too much information. Their brains are already full. They're already moving at light speed. So when you add more, again, sometimes it works, but in my experience, it's always been short-lived. Channelers usually like grounded people. They like chill people. They like the trees. They like slow. They need the opposite of themselves in order to process, which is why once you realize this is you and you learn how to control your tornado, you are unstoppable. So seeing people that I have worked with go from like a spinning tornado, confused, lost, they don't know what's happening. They are on a downward spiral. It'll start to affect their health. It'll start to affect their appetite. It'll start to affect their physical bodies. Channelers are usually very, very, very skinny. Again, they run at high speeds, so does their metabolism. They usually don't eat very much, and they're very, very thin. They just don't need a lot because they, again, process so fast. So your metabolism is also fast. The way your body processes things is also fast. When they get sick, they get deathly ill. Again, every channeler I've experienced has had some crazy, crazy, crazy illness, something very intense happen with injuries, again, fast. They've learned the lesson and then healed fast. But again, channelers are not immune to having to relearn lessons. I've seen the same channeler go through the same thing over and over and over again. So it also usually affects their health. Again, if you are falling into this bucket, you are everything that I've mentioned all of the time. If you are some of these things some of the time, yes, you can still channel. I would still go look that up. But I would say, like, if you are a full-blown channeler, you tick every single one of these boxes every single day for the last 30 years of your life. And if you are those people right now, your eyes are wide, your mouth is open, your jaw is dropped, and you're like, that is me, that is me, that is me. What? There's others. Yes, there's others. Again, in my experience, sometimes meeting other channelers can be helpful. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes channelers, they always want to try. They're like, yeah, I'll meet the person. Yeah, I'll have the phone call. Yeah, I'll go for coffee. And then I'll follow up a few weeks later and be like, how was it meeting so-and-so? Yeah, it was great. I can never meet them again. It was too much. Yeah, it was super cool. Wow, la, la, la. Never again. It's too much. I'm going back to my house in the forest. I need to talk to no one for 3 months. I need to go be with the trees. I need to process all this information. Channelers, that's you. I made a very short video on TikTok and Instagram talking about this, and the comments went off of people feeling seen. And like I said, if you are one of these things, some of these things, go look up channeling, channelers, and hopefully that information will help you and help you learn how to hone in on this information, because once you can control your tornado, you are unstoppable. Fast, fast, fast. You are running. You are at the speed of light. You are on the Autobahn. You are going so fast. Everyone is light years behind you. So again, this is just my experience of working with channelers over the years, having a few channeler friends. Channelers are usually very drawn to me, and it's usually because I'm very grounded. I am like a rock. I am like a tree. And they usually like being around me because I settle them. So I have 3, which I think is a lot, like very good channeler friends. And same thing, we practice the telepathy. We can communicate without communicating. It's very cool to test things out together. And they help me learn things. I help them process things. So it's really nice. A lot of times they can feel too much or overwhelming, or they'll kind of like run away all of a sudden. It's okay. You just kind of work with it as it goes. So hopefully this helped you, maybe give you some information, maybe put some pieces of the puzzle together, maybe point you in the direction of where you should be researching, what 10 books you're going to read in the next weekend, what podcast you're going to listen to the whole thing in one night. And again, it'll help teach you how to slowly process this information and how to slow down your tornado. My biggest tip is, remember, you can ask for things. You ask questions, you get answers. So you just have to formulate your questions. You need help, you ask for help, you get help. So you usually don't need anything. People are always like, I need to work with you. I need to see you again. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't need me, because you already have everything. So a lot of the times I've tried to only work with these channelers like once. I'm like, this is all you need and you're good to go. Again, the human of us wants to come back and come back and come back, but you don't need other people. It might be nice, but again, you have everything you need. You just have to learn how to use all the tools that you already have. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that puts you in the direction of where you need to go so that you can start to understand these things, slow down the information, and also just remember you are a manifesting queen, generator, whatever you want to call it. Quite literally, you can have whatever you want, even if it's $50,000. It is insane the way you will manifest and how fast it will be. Channelers are so cool and so interesting. Like, just want to study them and understand all of these things. So that's what I have for you this week. A highly popular topic. If you want to follow me on social media, at Medium in the Middle, everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Substack. All the links you need will be down below in the show notes. Subscribe to the podcast. I release new episodes every Wednesday for the next few weeks, and then we'll be taking a break. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, and bye to all the channelers.